We've been helping you plan UK trips for years, but what do we actually love? Favourite city, favourite castle, favourite train journey, favourite meal? 10 categories, 2 opinions, and we did not always agree.
Welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Your host is the founder of the UK Travel Planning website, Tracy Collins. Each week, Tracy shares destination guides, travel tips and itinerary ideas, as well as interviews with a variety of guests who share their knowledge and experience of UK travel to help you plan your perfect UK vacation. Join us as we explore the UK from cosmopolitan cities to quaint villages, from historic castles to beautiful islands, and from the picturesque countryside to seaside towns.
Before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Walks and Devour Tours. If you're planning a trip to London, you'll already know the challenge. There's a lot you want to do and only a limited amount of time to fit it all in. That's where the right tour makes all the difference, because you want experiences that are the best use of your time with more access, less waiting and a deeper sense of the city. That's why we recommend Walks and Devour Tours. They offer walking tours and food tours designed to make your time count, often with early or after hours entry. You'll also be with exceptional local guides who add the stories and context, so you leave with a richer understanding of what you're seeing and a trip that feels genuinely memorable. If you're visiting London as a couple, with family, or you simply prefer a more intimate experience, Walks and Devour Tours also offer private tour options. To learn more, you'll find the link in the show notes. Now let's get into this week's episode. Hi everybody and welcome to episode 206 of the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Now today it's kind of a slightly different episode of the podcast. I've kind of just said to Doug, this is what we're going to do. I was chatting to somebody the other day and I thought, we get asked a lot of the time what our favourite things are, favourite places, favourite experiences. So basically I've come up with 10 categories, so places, foods, experience and moments that we've kind of enjoyed during our time living and travelling around the UK, which we're talking about nearly 60 years. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really sad. I want to say that for a little bit. Nearly 60 years for me. Not quite 60 years for you. I'm not 60
just yet.
Not quite 60 years for you.
Not far off, to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of sharing that experience. Now, if you're listening to the podcast for the first time, just a quick introduction. I'm Tracy Collins. I am the podcaster, writer, social media manager, and general bossy boots.
Nag bag.
Behind a UK Travel Planning. And Doug's here again this week.
Yeah, I'm the quiet person in the relationship. I'm Doug Collins. Worked for the Railways for many, many years in the UK. In many different roles.
So basically, Doug is the train expert. So if you need any help with your UK train travel, Doug is the person to go to and ask. So we did also just want to, I guess, just give a little bit of our background, because we do the podcast every week, and I kind of don't really get into chatting a little bit about who we are on what we've done. We have got some podcasts. So a while back, Deborah interviewed us and asked us a whole lot of questions. I will share, I can't remember the number of that episode actually, but I'll share that in the show notes. So if you want to know a little bit more about myself and Doug, you can. So a little bit of an introduction. I was born in the northeast of England nearly 60 years ago, not too far from Hadrian's Wall. Lived in the UK until I was a teenager, then moved abroad. Since then, I've actually lived in 7 different countries across the world, worked in 7 different countries across the world as well. I did train as a history teacher, so that was my background for quite a few years. Then went into advising and teaching, and then basically about 10 years ago, or so, it was about 10 years ago, decided I wanted to do a little bit of travel writing, because I've always loved travelling. So started our first website, which is Global Travel Planning. And then 2000 started the UK Travel Planning, 2020 I should say, started UK Travel Planning and this podcast in 2022 I think it was. I think it's 4 years it's been going. So we're basically experts on UK travel. What about you, Doug?
Well, my story is not quite so interesting, but I'm born in Burton-on-Trent, which is in the middle of the Midlands. And I worked for the Railways for many, many, many years. I'm also a fully qualified registered nurse. So I just had a whole lifetime growing up. My father was on the Railways, so even from a very young age, I was travelling the Railways all around the UK. And then when I was working for the Railways myself, I was taking myself off at weekends. I commuted to and from work by train. I worked on trains and around trains. And then at weekends, I travelled by train everywhere around the UK. And I did actually do every single mile of track on the public railway system. when I was an apprentice. So we used to tick it off, a friend of mine, and we used to tick it off. And I've just built on that knowledge across many different sides of the rail industry, from electrical engineering, commissioning, operation size, route modification work, procurement. I've done so much. Even worked in an autumn control when the leaves were falling down.
Stopping the trains running?
Stopping trains, yeah.
So basically you can find us on the podcast, obviously UK Travel Planning, on our websites, uktravelplanning.com and londontravelplanning.com. We do have a general travel website as well, globaltravel.com. I would ask that you do support us if you like the podcast and do use the websites. It's getting incredibly difficult now with the changes on Google and AI to actually for our websites to be visible. So thank goodness we have the podcast and that you're tuning in and listening that way. We also are on YouTube. Doug's doing a lot on YouTube, aren't you?
That's right, yeah. So what, over the last 12 months, really, the popular routes and the questions that most people ask or find confusing, I try and cover on a route-by-route basis as to, some of the nice things to see. It's warts and all, so, things don't always go to plan, so I try and include the reality of UK rail travel.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a brief introduction. And I mean, if you listened to the podcast last week, you'll have listened to a bit more detail about exactly how we can help you plan your trip. But we just thought this week would be a little bit more fun in that we would just kind of, because we get asked all the time about, if you could only pick one, what would you recommend?
Yeah.
And I mean, I ask people this question myself. So we're kind of putting ourselves on the spot. So we've got 10 questions, 2 opinions, because mine and Doug's will be probably quite different.
Almost definitely.
We're not going to cheat. So actually, we haven't shared the answers beforehand, so I don't know what Doug's going to say. No. He has no idea what I'm going to say, so it's going to be interesting to see what we both pick. So these are kind of different questions all about the UK, as I say, different experiences. So the first question, do you want to start with the first one if I ask you it, or do you want me to answer it? Okay, go for it, so here you go, Doug. What's your favourite city in the UK outside of London?
Outside of London? So many have got so much to offer. I think I'm probably going to have to say York.
Okay, so what makes it genuinely different from anywhere else?
I think it's because York is obviously on the East Coast Main Line, and it's a place I've visited from a very, very young age. My parents used to take us up there. And it's home to my favourite museum. I hope that's not a question later.
It might be.
So the National Rail Museum. It's actually the first national museum of any sort outside London. It opened, mid-70s, early 70s. So, we went up there for then. So outside of London, I'd probably say York. Yeah.
And of course, historic as well.
It's just so much to offer, so many, of all ages. I mean, even British people head to York. Yeah,
because I've got the history, got the Roman walls that surround York. There's a Viking history that surrounds York. There's lots of great places to eat.
Not to mention the Wars of the Roses as well. So later period, it's very pivotal in UK history, full stop.
Obviously, you focus on the history, I start talking about food. There's some really great places to eat and drink, and some fantastic historic places to stay. We stayed at the Bar Convent one, which is actually a working convent still, which we really enjoyed. You can eat at the Guy Fawkes Inn as a favourite to eat at, because again, it was where Guy Fawkes was born. Guido Fawkes, who tried to blow up Parliament.
I thought it was Italian.
No, it was English.
There you go.
It was born in York. I'm not sure about his heritage. Maybe he was Italian background. But anyway, he tried to blow up the House of Parliament quite a few hundred years ago. So he's quite famous for that. You've got the Viking museum. The museum's very good. The Viking experience.
There's so many museums.
So there's a lot to do and see in York. So I can understand why you chose York.
Yeah.
And we do have a podcast, episode 3, actually, all about York. It's probably about time that we did another one about York, because it's a very, very popular episode.
Well, I'll never come back to the UK, visit the UK without actually going to York at some point, usually to visit the museum.
That's true. Now, I guess that same question to myself.
Yep.
What would your favourite city in the UK outside of London? I really struggled to answer this question. And I know it's really, really hard. And I was thinking, I love Cambridge and I really love Bath. I also love York. But I'm going to probably say Edinburgh.
Edinburgh's special.
I do really love going to Edinburgh. There's just something about, and this recent trip, I was in Edinburgh a few weeks ago, and actually for the first time, I know you've done this yourself, I went to Mary King's Close.
Oh, it's really good.
Oh my goodness, the real Mary King's Close. Wow, if you get a chance, if you're in Edinburgh, go and check this out, because it is literally a time capsule to see how, because, you know, when you walk down the Royal Mile, you get a feeling for what it was like a couple of hundred years ago to live in Edinburgh and the closes, but you can actually go and see one. You can go and I'm not going to I can't remember exactly how it was made, but it was basically like the close, the top of it was kind of taken off and a building was put on top of it. So you've got what existed underneath. And that's where you go down these steps, and then you go into these rooms that were originally people. Oh, it's just incredible. But just, you know, Edinburgh Castle, the views over Edinburgh itself. Again, I absolutely enjoy it to have my haggis, neeps and tatties when I go to Edinburgh. Edinburgh has been it's a place that I've been travelling to since I was a small child, so I've got just a lot of memories attached to it. And it's a great city to go and explore. Again, and it doesn't matter how many times I visit Edinburgh, I never run out of things to do and see.
True. Yep.
In fact, we're going to be there next week, and I've already thinking of things that I've not done that I want to go and see and experience. So I would say outside of London, it's probably going to be Edinburgh. We are talking about cities here, because it would be different if we're looking at kind of smaller things, towns and villages. Yeah. But for cities, I would say Edinburgh. And I know a lot of people... actually, you know, London, York, Edinburgh is a very, very popular itinerary that people
most definitely
build on.
Yeah.
So I kind of... So York and Edinburgh are answers to that one. Okay. This is a good one. You ready for question 2?
Go on then.
What's your favourite day trip from London? So... I'm just wondering if there's a train angle that's going to make your choice particularly good. So which one are you going to choose? Because there's lots of great places to go by train.
You've mentioned the place. I like going down to Bath, not just from Bath itself as a place, but also if anyone's looked at our website and, you know, our train itinerary, I like the Great Western train route from Paddington out to that West Country to Bristol and to Bath. I've always enjoyed doing that one from years back, really. It's one of the first places I thoroughly enjoyed visiting. Usually, mostly about the trains that were used on that line, HSCs years ago. But also, I like Paddington Station, I like the route, and I like Bristol, and I like Bath. So it's the shortest journey. It's actually I think it was one of my first YouTube videos I did, actually. So that's on there as well. So, yeah, I would say possibly Bath from London. Yeah.
And again, Bath's got so much to offer. It's actually, I would like to, if I'm going to say, if you're going to go to Bath, go and stay longer than one day, but it is possible to go on a day trip on train, isn't it?
It's only a couple hours, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and again, Bath, historic, is only a UNESCO World Heritage City in the UK. Yeah. History, Jane Austen connection, the Roman baths. Again, it's like has a huge amount to offer, depending, whatever your interest really. And Bath is a wonderful place to go. We actually have got a couple of podcasts on our top places to visit by train from London for day trips, and there's so many different places that we've actually talked about, and so many to choose from. So I guess the question for me is, where would I send a first-time visitor who has only one day and wants to feel like they've properly left London?
Is that a separate question?
No, it's the same question. What's your favourite day trip from London? Yeah. And I've done so many different day trips with so many different, whether by train, independently, or whether we've gone out on a company. And I have to say, I did do some trips with English Bus. So the podcast, I think it's episode 200 it's either 201 or 199. No, it's just around that 200th episode last month, where I've done a few trips out with the English Bus. So this is if you don't want to do it yourself, you want to go and be taken out on a tour. I really enjoyed. They've got a Stonehenge, Bath, and secret place.
Right.
And what I really liked about that is that you get to see Stonehenge, which is, a lot of people want to go and see Stonehenge. I love going to Stonehenge. So that's good. It's a great place to go and visit. You get to go and see Bath. So again, like you've talked about, you get that the experience of Bath. And the secret place, which I'm not allowed to say where it is because Chris would tell me off. Yep. But again, that will give you another additional great experience. So that will give you three different things you can do on a day trip.
Most definitely.
So that would probably, if you're a first-time visitor and you want to go and take a day trip out of London, which I would highly recommend that you do, don't just stay in London, go and do a day trip out. that would be something I'd
Oh,
recommend.
there's so many choices you've got there. I mean, I think my first thought is always trains, obviously. But, the South Coast, you've got Brighton, or further around, you've got the White Cliffs of Dover, good place to visit. You can come for the day. Canterbury, another place you can go for the day. It's all very achievable.
Windsor, Cambridge,
so
Oxford, the Cotswolds. Honestly, the list... Winchester, the list Portsmouth, the list Brighton. The list can go on and on and on. There are so many. And actually, really, the best way for you to decide... so we can give you our recommendation, but to be honest, the best way to do this is to actually think about what it is that you want, what appeals to you, what are your interests, which is of course what we do when we do consults or we do video reviews, is we look at what people's interests are and then recommend, because we know all these places, we've visited them all multiple times, right. So we can recommend what we think would be the most interesting destination for you to visit based on what you're interested in. So we do that a lot, and obviously help plan that as well if we do the one-to-one consult. So we do that, and that's something I guess we can do when we have that conversation and getting what it is that people are very interested in, and be able to tailor make it because we have the experience. And also, if you want to do a day trip out, we know the companies. We've done the research. And I was actually out on a trip yesterday with my tailored tours, and we're just talking about, went out with the lovely Wendy who invited me on the tour with her yesterday. And just like, people trust what you say. They know that you've done that research and know that the companies that you work with are they're going to have a good time.
Definitely so.
So that's really good. Or question 3, this one's just for you. It really is just for you. What's your favourite train journey in the UK?
Grief, that's a nightmare question. I've just got so many.
Come on, full picture.
I enjoy them for so many different reasons. I like train routes as opposed to single journeys, but a single journey, settle Carlisle, over the Yorkshire Dales into Cumbria, over the Ribble Head Viaduct. That's special. You catch it from Leeds, because it's settled up to a Carlisle. That's beautiful. In fact, I was going to do it yesterday, but the weather closed in. The West Highland line from Glasgow to Oban, Fort William, Malig, that's special. I like it from Dingwall, North Inverness, up to Thurso and Wick. But I was just going to say this is one train journey, not multiple. Good grief.
I mean, you can choose a route. You can choose a route.
I'm going to say settle Carlisle then, really, at this moment in time, because it's a unique single journey, and that's more in line with what the question is, and that is just both sides of the train. What is special on that one, the train conductor with the freshman trolley, they give a bit of a chat as you're travelling along as well, which is really unique, I find. And their passion for that whole route is something special, and it was so close to closure. But it was rescued by a society to, try and preserve the line, which is very, very good. So, we'll stick with South Carlisle in Yorkshire into Cumbria.
Eventually got that out of you.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love all the others too.
Right, for I'm going to say, well, I think you know what I'm going to say. Well, the journey is actually, the journey is in itself the destination in a way. Is the Caledonian Sleeper. I love the Caledonian Sleeper. Especially if I can go in the club room, I particularly like the Caledonian Sleeper, because that's such a lovely experience.
Which route are you talking? Are you talking to Fort William or Inverness?
London upwards. So I would say London to either Fort William or Inverness. I guess if I had to choose the one of those trips that I'd take, it would probably be the one to Fort William, because I love waking up in the Highlands and, just looking out of the window. It's just beautiful. Doing the opposite way is not as special because you're arriving in London.
Southbound,
I've done that a number of times as well. We're actually on the Caledonian Sleeper this week. Tomorrow, actually, tomorrow night again. I was on the Caledonian Sleeper a couple of weeks ago. I came back. I did Fort William down to Birmingham because it's now stopping in Birmingham.
Birmingham International,
yes. So I got off there, which is the first time I've done that.
Yeah.
I would say every trip back we've done at least 1 or 2 trips, because I love sleeper trains. Now not everybody can sleep on them, so make sure they do provide you with earplugs and a mask, and you might need that.
They are special. I think the northbound Highlander is particularly special. We talked about this before, was it yesterday or today? My first experience of doing that one, we could still open the window slightly. And that first experience, I got off at Crenlarrick on the West Highland line before Fort William. And you open those windows and you get the smell of pine, because that was March, April time I first did that one years and years ago. And yeah, you get the smell of the pine as soon as you open up. It's just a contrast to where you get on the train in the evening in London, Euston. But that's special. But talking of sleepers, last year I did the Night Riviera from Paddington down to Penzance, and that was a special experience for a single journey.
I haven't done that one yet, so I can't say that's my favourite, but you did enjoy it, and that video is done extremely well on YouTube. So if you want to actually see about that, and we'll hopefully get a video this time of the Caledonian Sleeper experience. Kind of that question is it worth it? We think it's absolutely worth it. We love it.
It is worth it.
It's an experience, and again, it's where with that experience. The journey itself is really the destination. Yes, you get to a fantastic place, but it's just an amazing journey.
It really is.
So, and I'd just do it just to be on the Caledonian Sleeper, to be honest.
Yeah, that's special.
I love it. Right, so that's kind of a little wrap up there about trains. Now we're going to talk about one of my favourite things.
Go on then.
What's your favourite food or meal you've ever had in the UK? Now, I guess you can talk about family stuff as well, but I guess what I'm thinking about is recommending for people who are coming to visit the UK something that we've eaten that other people can get access to. Because I'd love to say my grandmother's Sunday roast, which was always the best.
Actually, our friends in Burton-on-Trent do the most amazing Sunday lunches.
They do as well, but unfortunately, not everybody's going to get access to that. So when you think about something like a dish or a place or a moment or a meal that you think that somebody else would like really enjoy and we could recommend.
How long have you got for me to think about this one? Because there's so much falls into that one. One that's just occurred to me, this was years ago, on the Channel Island of Guernsey. I had this duck in black cherry sauce. That's a meal that's so stuck in my mind.
Right, but
that was a long time ago.
But I'm thinking about what would be a meal or food that you've had that somebody else can experience. Actually, I will talk about this one because I particularly like Scotch eggs.
You do?
I love Scotch eggs. So Scotch egg is basically an egg in the centre which has been boiled. Boiled egg, then shelled, and then it's basically wrapped in sausage meat, and then breadcrumbs, and then fried. And they can be eaten cold or hot.
Yeah.
They're very good on picnics. So I particularly like Fortnum and Mason. Apparently, they were the ones that invented the Scotch egg. So you can go to Fortnum and Mason on the first floor. It's like the ice cream parlour in Fortnum and Mason, but they do serve the Scotch eggs there. Delicious, with piccalilli, which again, if you've not experienced that, is really good. But I did have that as well on the Taste Tales and Traditional Ales Devour food tour, which I've done twice now. I did that last month again, and that's one of the dishes that you get to taste, and I really look forward to it because the Scotch egg is the last thing that you get to taste on that tour.
Very nice.
And I really look forward to it. And actually everybody always says, wow, it is so good. So if you want to actually taste a bit of British food, that is a good way to do it. And also you'll learn all about the pubs as well, so that's a really cool one to do. And if you're in London, you can do that. I am going to throw in, I'm going to cheat. Can I cheat?
Well, go for it, yeah.
I love Macca's mash bar when I'm in Edinburgh because I love my haggis, snoops and tatties.
Oh, me too then.
So there's a couple of things there. It's really difficult to...
I like the fish and chips we had that time in St Ives. That was delicious.
You know what? I think we've cheated on this question.
It's hard to pick one, isn't it?
Favourite food or meal? Honestly, you've got lots of options, and we do have a podcast about different foods. We've got an article about different foods. So if you want to try some traditional British foods, take a look at that. Honestly, there's so many different places across the UK. Your best bet is to really go online and just check reviews, because unfortunately, much as I'd like to, I can't eat in every possible restaurant in the UK.
No, that's true.
But yes, I think food, we could talk about that for an entire episode. In fact, we are going to talk about Sunday roast and afternoon teas in a future episode.
I like, going back to food, I'm a great one for Victoria sponge cakes.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows.
In fact, when I was out yesterday and we were looking at cake, Wendy, who was out yesterday, she looked and she went, "Oh, Doug would like, there's a Victoria sponge cake." Everybody knows.
Yeah. It's a sponge cake with cream or jam cream and jam in the inside, a bit of ice and sugar on top. It's quite a basic cake, but when it's done properly with a nice cup of tea, it is special beyond belief.
Just a quick pause to thank our sponsor, Walks and Devour Tours. If you're planning a trip to London, you'll already know the challenge. There's a lot you want to do and only a limited amount of time to fit it all in. That's where the right tour makes all the difference, because you want experiences that are the best use of your time, with more access, less waiting, and a deeper sense of the city. That's why we recommend Walks and Devour Tours. They offer walking tours and food tours designed to make your time count, often with early or after hours entry. You'll also be with exceptional local guides who add the stories and context, so you leave with a richer understanding of what you're seeing and a trip that feels genuinely memorable. If you're visiting London as a couple, with family, or you simply prefer a more intimate experience, Walks and Devour Tours also offer private tour options. To learn more, you'll find the link in the show notes. Excellent. Oh, another thing I'm going to just throw in there is a jacket potato as well, because
You do like
we have
vegetables.
I had jacket potato yesterday, and apparently in places like America it's not considered to be a whole meal. Well, we can have that as a whole meal,
Yes.
because you have it with I had it with baked beans and cheese, coleslaw and salad.
Yeah, I have it with quiche and salad sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we could talk for an entire episode and never get to question 5. because we'll
I
talk
said
about
the
food.
word spud. A spud is a
Potato.
yes, another potato. Word for potato. Yes.
Right, we're going to kind of pivot away from food, and we're going to ask your favourite church or cathedral. Oh, there's so many to go and see. So-
I know this one because it's actually on my consciousness in the last few days, because it came up somewhere else. I mentioned again the Channel Island of Guernsey. There's a little chapel, and it was made early 20th century. I think it was by a monk. It's based on Lourdes in France, and it's this miniature. It's a tiny miniature church, but it's been coated with shells and broken glass and pottery and things. It's very special, and it's all up in the rural area. It's very special. If you ever go to Guernsey, I mean, you've not been to Guernsey, I don't think.
No, I've been to Jersey, but not
If we
Guernsey.
get there, we'll take you to have a look at that. It's very special. It's called the Little Chapel.
And also, I want just to mention that's a bailiwick of the UK. So
Yes,
Do
yes.
you want to explain what that is?
A bailiwick is an independent state, but still under the sort of crown cover of
The UK, but they have
UK.
their own tax, which is why a lot of rich people go and live there.
Yeah.
So I actually went to Jersey a few years
It's still considered by many to be part of, but if you're being pedantic, no, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So is there one that you want to specifically say about in the UK rather than Guernsey?
Okay. Salisbury's pretty special. Salisbury's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah. It's got the tallest spire.
Tallest spire.
And it's also got the
Magna Carta's
Carta in
there,
it as well. Yeah.
It's nice, because I like Salisbury's nice. It's a nice place to visit. Actually, a little obscure one is Lichfield near Birmingham, because I worked that way for a little while, and that's one of the, I'd say, lesser known cathedrals. I don't mean that in the fact that it's any lesser of a cathedral. It's just not one talked about so often, and that's a pretty one.
That's true. Well, I'm going to choose Winchester.
Winchester.
So Winchester Cathedral was the largest cathedral in Europe for quite a while. It is massive.
It is.
It is impressive.
Yeah, and it was sinking at one point.
Yeah, it was. And this guy dived underneath and kind of shored it up. You can go and see the diving helmet that he wore and how he shored it up. But this is in the 1800s, I think he did it.
Yeah.
Is
Is it French? German?
No, I'm not sure. But Jane Austen's buried there. It's a very impressive cathedral. It was the cathedral where William the Conqueror was crowned.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's just impressive.
Has it got some story of the Civil War with horses inside as the cathedral as well? Something.
I think I think that might be Bath Abbey, but I might be
Is
wrong.
that Bath? Maybe more than one. Some expert can give us feedback on that one, please.
I know, maybe. See, with this, you can tell this is ad hoc because it's now I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
because there are quite a lot to visit. But I just think I've been in Winchester quite a few times. If you're a Jane Austen fan, it's an absolute must because that's where she's buried anyway.
I'm allowed to choose two. I just think
Not
Canterbury.
really. Yeah.
Canterbury's seriously special.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we do have a lot of churches and a lot of cathedrals, so there's lots to choose from. I mean, I know I actually recently climbed up Bath Abbey to see the view of Bath, which was amazing. You've climbed York Minster.
I have York Minster.
To have a look at that as well. St Giles in Edinburgh is a beautiful church. There's so many, and there's I'm only supposed to choose one, and I'm chucking out loads there.
Me too.
But there are some beautiful churches and cathedrals to visit. But I just love Winchester. It's a beautiful, smaller city to visit. It's a city because it's got a cathedral.
Yeah.
But that's an easy day trip from London as well.
It is. So is Canterbury.
Yeah. So we're kind of all of these questions are all melding into everything. Kind of see how everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
Okay. So question 6. What's your favourite castle?
Oh, good grief. Is this in London or outside London?
Anywhere in the UK.
Well, the Tower of London has to be up there with everybody's, really, because that's such an attraction. But outside London, it's going to have to be one in Wales. It's going to be Carnarvon or Conway. They are both magical, fantastic places.
And you did a trip to North Wales a few years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, travelled all our public transport, lots of trains, obviously. Went to Iwydfa on the cable car.
Snowdonia,
sorry, Iwydfa. But yeah, castle-wise, because I love Conway as well, not just a little village there. It's really special. But yeah, Carnarvon and Conway, castles.
Okay, I'm gonna say Tower of London.
Yeah,
I don't think you can avoid the Tower of London. I think you should visit the Tower of London. Please don't just walk past the front of it because you're not going to have any idea. And I've heard that people say, "I'm just going to drive past." Well, don't bother.
Well, I'm going to promote Wales here. Don't forget Wales because it has such a lot to offer.
No, that's true. But if you're in London, seriously, go and visit the Tower of London, go into the Tower of London, go and meet one of the yeoman warders. You can ask them questions. Yeah. If you want a special treat, you can do the opening ceremony of the Tower of London. You can do the ceremony of the keys, which is the closing ceremony of the Tower of London. I've wrote about both of those ceremonies because they're brilliant. I've done them both. We've done them both a few times, haven't we? Yeah. Really good. But if you can just go in, give yourself a good 3 or 4 hours to explore the Tower of London. You're going to need that length of time. The White Tower is the central. As you go in the Tower of London, you'll see this kind of white castle. That is the original castle that was built by William the Conqueror. Yep. So that's the original, and everything else is kind of built around it. You can go into the chapel. That's where Anne Boleyn was buried. Mm-hmm. You can see, there's just so much to see. There's graffiti that was written by prisoners, which are kept in the Tower of London. It's really interesting and very accessible, especially if you're in London to go and visit. So I would say that. Outside of London, because I'm going to cheat as well.
Yeah,
I'm going to say outside of London. Outside of London, go Northumberland. So I'm originally from Northumberland, which is the northernmost county of the UK. It's got the most castles of any other county in the UK. We come in because we were kind of invaded from the north, invaded from the sea by the Vikings. So we had to have all these castles to protect ourselves.
Yeah. But most of the ones in Wales will protect the Welsh from the English.
It's true. I would say Alnwick Castle, Bamborough Castle. Yeah. There's just so many castles to visit.
Yeah. There's a lot up there. That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I'd say. Now, question 7. I'm going to answer this one first.
Go first. Yep.
What's your favourite wildlife or landscape experience in the UK? Well, I can't not hark back to my recent trip when I stayed on the Isle of Mull, and I took out a tour to go to Lunga to see the puffins. I've been wanting to see puffins. Bearing in mind I grew up in Northumberland, I hadn't seen puffins before, and we do have puffins of the northeast. I had not seen puffins. So I went on this day trip out on the boat from Tobermory to the island of Lunga to see puffins, and they were so cute. They are so much smaller than you would imagine. Yeah. I think for some reason, I have no idea, I kind of thought they were kind of penguin size, but they're not. They are tiny, tiny, cute, and they love people, because when people are around, it means that the predator birds won't come in and try and get them or their eggs or their chicks. So they actually like it when people are around. So I say that's probably my all-time favorite wildlife experience. Landscapes I can talk about. I'm not going to.
2 questions.
It is a bit difficult one, but it's kind of wildlife or your landscape. So I've gone for the wildlife. What are you going to go for?
For wildlife, because I've had a few minutes to think about that one. Years ago, I was driving in the Highlands in Scotland, and I came to a T-junction. T-junction is where, obviously, 2 roads meet. Right in front of me, literally about 7 or 8 feet away from me, was a golden eagle sitting on a post.
Wow.
And it was wow, that's big.
Yes.
And we just obviously waited a few seconds, I was with someone else. And and it was a lovely summer, sunny day. And it wasn't summer, it was April. So that was earlier than that, but the sun was shining, and there was this massive golden eagle just sitting on a post on a fence, watching the world go by.
And you can see them in Scotland. Actually, I did see them on the Island of Mull as well, golden eagles.
Oh, that was beautiful. But from a landscape experience, also the West Highlands is stunning. I think the views of the White Cliffs of Dover always seem pretty special. But I'm going to go for, I've mentioned Snowdonia, Widfor. Driving around that area there, and it's just stunning scenery everywhere.
Well, landscape-wise, I'm going to go up to Scotland again. So, and the Isle of Mull is amazing, but I've just been at Harris and Lewis, and the Isle of Harris is like something I've never seen before. But it kind of harks me back as well to kind of do that North Coast 500 in the far north of Scotland. Yeah. It's like nowhere else on earth. I think it's beautiful.
Well, it's contrast in North Scotland.
And I guess I'm going to have to mention Glencoe, because that just, every time I go to Glencoe, that moves me. It really does. I just absolutely love it. So we're really cheating. We're supposed to be choosing one.
No, because there isn't any one, is there?
It's really, really difficult. Yeah. Really difficult. Actually, question 8 might be a little bit easier for me.
Go on then.
And maybe easier for you, I'm not sure. So, what is your favourite museum?
Oh, that's easy for me.
Go on then, go for it.
National Railway Museum in York. It just goes without saying.
The what, sorry?
National Railway Museum, NRM.
National Railway.
There's now more than one, but it was the first, I think I've mentioned, it was the first national museum of any sort outside London. And I just never go through York without getting off the train and
absolutely
having a visit.
I know.
I mean, it's had how many different developments over the years, but it's right next to the station. And it's almost my second home. Even when I was working around there, when I was at the railway, when I travelled up and down the country, never failed to go into the National Railway Museum in York.
So that's definitely your choice. And I don't know how many times you've been, because every time I go to York, you want to go, and you do go.
Dozens of times.
It's a bit like me. For London, when I come in, and I
know what you're going to say.
You know, I'm going to say the V&A. Everybody who knows me and listens are going to say that I absolutely love the V&A. And a good point, again, I was having a discussion the other day. Someone saying, I don't want to come from my country to see things that I can see anyway in my own country. So something like the Natural History Museum, perhaps if you've got something similar in your own country, you don't want to do that. You won't have a V&A. You won't have a Victoria and Albert Museum. Yeah. And I was asked my favourite things to do and see in the V&A, and it's definitely going to be the Cass Courts. Again, I absolutely love the Cass Courts. Are just absolutely my favourite. And in fact, I think if we get time, I'm not going to actually mention anything else that I really like in the V&A, because I'm hopefully going to do a bit of a video so I can show people what my top favourite things are, my galleries that I like to go to, the particular exhibitions that I like to go and see. Yes, tea rooms are beautiful. They can get very crowded though, but the beautiful Art Deco, yes, and the tea rooms. The specific things that I recommend going and see. Unfortunately, their fashion is closed at the minute until next year, because I always love the fashion.
And also, you mentioned the V&A. Part of our trip in Scotland, we're going to go to the other V&A
in Dundee.
In Dundee,
yeah, and there's actually a new one as well in London that I haven't managed to get to, which has got a David Bowie collection. So I'd like to go and see that. Yeah. I'm a member of the V&A, so we need to try and fit a bit more V&A in. Yeah. And because we're doing an episode, hopefully in a couple of months' time, about the lesser known museums.
Yeah, that'll be good.
In London that we're talking about. So we've got the Postman Museum tomorrow, Postal Museum.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Charles Dickens Museum, Florence Nightingale Museum, some of the other smaller museums in London that you might be interested in. And I guess
there's quite a few, isn't there?
There are a lot. And that new V&A one will come into that as well, because when anybody thinks of the V&A, they think about the one in South Kensington. They do. So I think we'll cover that. So if you're interested in museums in London, we have got a recent podcast where we go through the top 10, but they are like the more famous museums.
And quite a few of them are free. Yeah.
Well, the V&A is free, except if you go to an exhibition. I went to the Marie Antoinette exhibition a couple of months ago. Because I'm a member, I didn't need to pre-book a ticket because they sold out.
So at the British Museum, they have a few bits and pieces on
there. Yeah. Well, British Museum coming up is going to be the Bayeux Tapestry from September. I'd love to be here to see that. So if you want to see the Bayeux Tapestry, it's basically once in a lifetime opportunity to see it in the UK. That is going to be at the British Museum later this year, but you'll have to pay for that. But if you're interested in that, I'd check that out now and get your tickets for that. That's, I think, September. I'm not quite sure when it runs to next year, but it starts September. Right, let's talk about question 9. What is your favourite season to visit the UK? Not when we lived here, but when we come to visit. What would be the favourite
it's the same season. I mean, when we lived here, I used to grow lots of vegetables and whatever. So it was always a good season for growing, because I grew everything from seed. So, yeah, the spring months are fantastic. And that's not changed for visiting. To me, I like daffodils, and then towards the end, the tulips and the other spring flowers.
Wisteria.
Oh, yes. Bluebells, snowdrops. I just love seeing those. And it's just like the new season. I just think it's nice to visit as well.
It's quiet as well.
The weather can be a little bit variable, but then it can be...
We're in summer at the minute, and it's
just the same,
variable as well. I think the thing is about spring is it's quite. If you maybe May, I think would be the month I would say out of the spring season. That is probably the best. Actually, May wasn't too bad weather-wise as well, but it's less crowded.
That's right.
Outside, there is a week's holiday in the UK, and there's 2 public holidays in May, so you do have to check that if you want to come in May. But May is a good season to visit.
It really is. But last year I was here towards autumn months, and some of the autumn colours were absolutely stunning. So it's a difficult one, but I think spring just edges it for me.
So I'm going to go for autumn because I really like September. So heading into the September, October, into autumn, change of the leaves are beautiful. It can still be warm, which is what's really nice. It's also quieter. The kids have gone back to school.
Yeah.
There's no public holidays in September, so you don't have to worry about that. There's no kind of major events like, I'm just thinking about if you come to London in April and you've got the London Marathon, there's lots of things going on. In June, you've got the Trooping of the Colour. There's not any, got Wimbledon come up in July. There's not any major, as far as I'm aware, major events in September. So it's a kind of nice, quieter month, warmer month, less tourist here month to go and visit.
It was. I was here in September last year, and it was just so, it was nice.
Yeah, so I'd say September. I am going to throw a little mention in because winter I wouldn't recommend January, February. It's dark, it's colder. But if you are kind of thinking winter months, then it is beautiful here in December with all the Christmas decorations.
There's something to offer all through year round. I mean, if you don't have much of a choice when you do visit, and for whatever reason you have to come at X time, there is something. There's places you can visit to get the best of it.
Absolutely. Well, actually, we've just had a couple of weeks ago. Just had the podcast out about things to do in summer, and we've looked at 5 different regions of the UK. We have that episode as well for spring for those different 5 regions, all the way from far north of Scotland down to Devon. Yeah. We've talked to experts from each of the different regions. So we've got the spring episode, we've got a summer episode just out. We will be doing an autumn and winter episode on those 5 parts of the UK as well. So if you're interested in thinking, I'm going to actually be visiting in the autumn, fall, I'm going to be visiting in winter, those are episodes that are worth listening out to because we've got the actual experts from each of the regions to tell you what are the best things to do and see and things not to miss.
Yeah.
Those have been very, very popular
episodes. It will be, because
episodes.
It's good to know,
Yeah. So the last question is the hardest one.
Go on then.
Oh, okay. You ready for this one? Because this is hard. I had a sneak peek, so I'm already struggling. Know this one. If you could only take a first-time visitor to one place in the UK, a city, region, experience, whatever you want, what would it be and why? It's a hard one.
I'm going to say Chatsworth House in the Peak District in Derbyshire, because that's close to where I'm from. Chatsworth is just so quintessentially, I'm going to say British. Not just English, but British. It's just, if you go on the right day, it's a stunning house, stunning gardens, and the whole area of the Peak District is the UK's first, maybe in the world's first national park. And it's just stunning from one side to the other. But Chatsworth House is just ticks that box for something so quintessentially British.
Okay. Well, I'm choosing a region.
Yeah.
And this is actually not an easy choice because I know it's a very, very touristed area. But it's a very touristed area for a reason, and that's the Cotswolds. The Cotswolds are so
big area, though.
Yeah, it is a big area.
Yeah.
We've had Lisa from Go Cotswolds have been on the podcast, I think, about 5 times now, talking about different areas and things to do and what to see and how to get around the Cotswolds. But the Cotswolds are kind of quintessentially English, I guess.
That's my word. You've got to find your own.
Well, sorry, but they are.
But they are.
And
it's true. Yeah.
I myself, particularly, I guess this is when you're visiting the spring, summer, is I love going to places like Hidcote Gardens. Yeah. So Hidcote Manor, the gardens, they're just beautiful. And you've got Kiffsgate for the roses opposite. You've got, the beautiful... now, thatch isn't actually something that really associated with the Cotswolds because they're more stone roofs, but they do have... thatch cottages as well with the roses around the door. It's one of those things, if I ever won, you'd have to win probably more than $1 million actually on the lottery. You'd have to win quite a few million to be able to afford a house in the Cotswolds.
It's very picture postcard. Yeah.
It really is. And actually I was having this discussion yesterday and we're sort of saying which village in the Cotswolds would you live in? And I'd have to say I'd probably have to ask the tourists to leave, but I just love Byberry.
Barbara's lovely.
Yeah, Barbara's lovely, but again, it's too many people going, and I guess it's one of those...
I don't know if I could live in a place called Slaughter.
Lower Slaughter, maybe. Yeah.
As beautiful as it is, no offence to anybody who lives around there, but the name's Slaughter.
It doesn't mean what you think it means.
No, it doesn't. No.
It's an old English word. Lower Slaughter, Upper Slaughter, there's some beautiful... Stowe is gorgeous. I think probably the Cotswolds, that's where I'd take somebody for a week and do a tour around the Cotswolds and do that. And I think... again, I'm going to say second and third choice. Second choice, probably somewhere down in Cornwall, because Cornwall is beautiful.
It really is.
Third choice would be, and these are actually no order, really. I kind of think all of these. Northumberland, Peak District. I'm going to just put loads in
some of those
here.
villages in the Highlands where I've got family up towards Killing and that area. It's just stunning. That West Highlands of Scotland is just such a stunning area.
I think, you know what my conclusion from this question is we're trying to pick out one place to take a first-time visitor, and I think it's just about impossible. So we understand if you are planning your trip to the UK, you are kind of going, oh my goodness, I want to go to the Cotswolds, I want to go to far north Scotland, I want to go to Edinburgh, I want to go to Cornwall, I want to go to Wales. Yeah. It's just about, well, it is impossible to do all of that in one trip. We've lived here for multiple years and years and years and haven't managed to see every single place.
Oh, no. I've been where the trains go, but...
Yeah,
not some of the areas not accessible.
Yeah, so that's and that's with decades of experience. So when it comes to you, when you're sitting, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And a lot of people have said when they sit and use AI and they start trying to put stuff together, they get overwhelmed because it you get too much information.
Total overwhelm.
And again, I know it sounds like I'm kind of saying this a lot, but honestly, if you are sitting trying to put together your itinerary and you've gone and you've done something on AI and you're sitting going, oh my goodness, does this make any sense? Is this actually what I want to do? Your best bet, honestly, is to talk to myself and Doug. Really, genuinely.
Between us, we're not, places we've been individually,
places together, we've seen a lot, but also its ability to actually listen to what you want from your trip. What are you interested in?
Well, AI
How do you
just agrees with you.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also gives you just too much information, too much contradictory information. You kind of go down a rabbit hole. Having that discussion, that time to spend, so we can help you put together an itinerary that's going to work for you and is not going to be exhausting. You're not going to be rushing around like mad things trying to fit everything in.
We'll tell you if it's achievable.
Yeah.
We really will.
So anyway, that's kind of a bit of a plug for us, but there's a reason I say that because we hear this all the time, and because just us answering these questions, how hard it is to pick one thing.
It is. But you gather, listen, that we've experienced a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. So hopefully this is giving you a little bit of taste of things that we really enjoy. We do get asked that all the time, what should I not miss? What city should I go to? What castle? What is it that you love? What are those things to do? And as I say, it's been a very, very interesting and very difficult episode to come up with those.
Apologies for the ums and the ers because we didn't know what the questions were to start with.
So you had to think about them on the hop, and they're not easy. So anyway, and actually, to be honest, if you asked us these questions 6 months' time, we may come up with a different answer.
Indeed, so that's right. Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for this week's episode of the podcast, episode 206. Next week is part 2 of my Scottish Islands adventure. So it'll be talking about my trip to Mull and Iona, which I did solo, how I got around, what I did, and some tips if you're planning to visit those beautiful islands, Scottish Islands. But for this week's episode, if you'd like to get in touch, leave us a message on SpeakPipe. Share this with anybody that you know that might be possible visiting the UK.
In fact, share your answers to these same questions.
Yes,
that'd
let us
be really
know.
Interesting.
Yeah, we really want to know what would be your 10, or what do you think, if you haven't been to the UK, what do you think are those things that you want to do and say that, that you're anticipating? Because obviously you're going to pick out the things that really appeal to you.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess that just leaves us to say, though, until next week.
Happy UK travel planning.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the UK Travel Planning Podcast. As always, show notes can be found at uktravelplanning.com. If you've enjoyed the show, why not leave us feedback via text or a review on your favourite podcast app? We love to hear from you, and you never know, you may receive a shout out in a future episode. But as always, that just leaves me to say, until next week, happy UK travel planning.